Okay, so permission granted. I guess you can all see my screen now.
Yes, sir.
This is it. 10 minutes first. So basically, this is where we left off the last time. We started with lecture 4. We are in week 4, right?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Okay. And we tried to define quality. We said quality is a relative term, and individuals perceive quality differently. And I remember in class, I did say that sometimes you look at a handsome man like the course rep, and look at a lady behind him, and then you ask, oh my God, where did he find this lady from? But as we are looking at quality in terms of the facial appearance or the outlook, the outward outlook. But for somebody like Theophilus, the outward looks is not important to him or are not important to him. For him, it may be something else. So we say quality is relative. Individuals perceive quality differently. Now let's consider the following. So quality means fitness for use. But we have several definitions of quality. I think we might come across some of them here. Some say quality is fitness for purpose, which means as long as the item is fit for purpose, you can describe it as quality. And with that definition, it takes away the connotation, the implication that quality is something of luxurious nature. Quality is something of expensive nature. No, no. So we can have quality of design and we can have quality of conformance. What are these two? What do they mean? Quality of design. It is the intention of designers to include or exclude features in a particular product or service. When organizations are designing products, they have in mind, like we saw from the house of quality, when they capture the voice of the customer. The voice of the customer gives them indication of what features, what attributes the product should have. So when they are designing the product, they design it with the intention that those features will be included. Those features that the customer has expressed interest in will be included in the product. So it is the intention of designers to include or exclude features in a particular product or service. That's all goods and services are produced in various grades or levels of quality. So automobiles are to provide safe transportation for the consumer, but they differ with respect to size. They differ with respect to appearances. Look at this recent Korean cars which have flooded our road networks. The Maltese something. What's the name? Something Maltese.
Daewoo Matters.
Aha. Daewoo Maltese or whatever you choose to call it. Quite popular. These are Korean cars, basically. Compare the size and compare them to American cars like the Tundra. You ask yourself, is it the same human being that will sit in this car that will also sit in that one? Eh? So automobiles are to provide safe transportation. I mean, as long as the car can take you from point A to point B and it's safe to be in, fine, it satisfies the quality element. So they differ in terms of the size, in terms of appearance, in terms of performance. Whereas some of these vehicles can for example use 1 liter of petrol over say 20 kilometers. Others can use one liter of petrol for less than that number of kilometers. So they differ in terms of performance. So when we say quality of design, basically it is the functionalities, as the guns will say, functionalities that the designers had in mind of the product. Okay. Then quality of conformance is the degree to which goods and services conform to the intent of the designers. You see, so you may have the functionalities in mind, what the product is designed to, what the product is expected to go out there to do, what features it will have, and what functionalities it should perform. But when we come to quality of conformance, and but the meaning of the two is quite related, so you need to pay attention here. Quality of conformance, it is the degree to which goods or services conform to the intent of the designers. So the designer will have intention that I'm producing this product. That is what the product should go out there to do. But in the end, when the product is produced, it might be able to perform those functionalities that have been designed, or it might not be able to perform those functionalities that have been designed into the product. Hello, Francis. Morning. It's online. We started. Okay, right. Okay. Like the way sometimes it happens to our women. You might decide to prepare banku. What is banku meant for? It's the designer's intention that he or she is preparing the banku to be eaten. But you start the process. Maybe the combination of kondo cassava dough goes to the extent that the banku cannot become hard. So eventually it turns out to be cocoa. So the design intention has not been performed. And that is what we are referring to as the quality of conformance. So it is the degree to which goods or services conform to the intent of the designers. Now, there are factors that influence quality of conformance. What are those factors? Now, we'll look at this later. But do you have any problem with this definition? The quality of conformance, quality of design. Do you have any issues with them? No response, so I guess no issues. You see, I was expecting you to have issues because the two definitions focus less on the customer. Who does the two definitions focus on? The two definitions.
Producer.
Who?
The producer.
The producer. The producer. The producer. Because if you look at quality in terms of fitness for use within these two definitions, quality of design and quality of conformance. Quality of design is all about what intentions do the engineers, the manufacturers, the producers have in mind to create a product. Quality of conformance, whatever they are able to produce, is it able to conform to the intention they had originally? You see, so in all two instances, the focus is on the producer with much less focus on the customer. But last week, we also got to know that the customer is very important when it comes to production of products and delivery of services, because these products and services are not meant to be produced for the company. They are meant to be produced for the customer. And if the customer doesn't exist, the product doesn't exist, the manufacturer doesn't exist. So those are the problems we have with those two definitions. Much less focus on the customer, and then more of a conformance to specification approach to quality. So it doesn't focus much on the customer. And then again, what specifications? I hope the word specification isn't too big for you. We've explained it severally. Specification. So what characteristics, what features, What attributes do you want a product to have? Those are the specifications. So screen size of the phone, memory capacity of the phone, sharpness of the screen, camera, those things are part of the specifications of the phone. So with those two definitions, they tend to focus more on what we call the conformance specification approach. Now, quality is inversely proportional to variability. What is the meaning of the term variability? What is the meaning of variability? If you don't understand, Google it so you can also speak as if you know.
Something that varies.
Something that varies. Any different definition? Has anybody gotten any different definition? Hey, this morning people are not in the mood at all. Why? You're not responding to my question. You are not participating in the class. If you want me to do it raw, I'll do it raw and then we leave here. If you're not talking, I'll just talk and move on. Let's engage. Let's make online learning practical, just like we did in the classroom last week. You talk to me, I talk to you.
Sir. Hey, lack of consistency.
Lack of consistency.
Liability.
Very good. Lack of consistency. That the reason why the first answer I didn't like it is because you are repeating portion of the same word. Variability. Okay, lack of consistency. So when we say quality is inversely proportional to variability, what does that mean? Don't read whatever we have at the bottom. Try and use your own understanding to give me something here. Quality is inversely proportional to variability, which means when one is increasing, the other is
decreasing.
So with that understanding, use quality and variability to explain in terms of increasing, decreasing. What do you want to say?
Okay, so if quality is inversely related to variability, then it means for quality to go up, we should limit variability.
Excellent. Perfect. We need to focus on reducing variability in products we manufacture. In other words, like somebody said, we need to make sure that the inconsistencies we see in the final products are reduced. If we say the color of this phone is black, it should be that typical black for every single phone that we produce. But even though we say we are producing black, sometimes you look at the color and say, but is this black? This is blue black. Which means that we are not even able to get the color, the mixture of the color black consistent. And so we said the color of the phone is black, but what the shades of black that we are producing is inconsistent, varies from phone to phone. We say that the space within the car is this dimension, but when you check the same car, the same models, the space is different. Even the weight is also different from car to car. These are issues that affect quality. These are issues that affect quality. So we are saying that quality is inversely proportional to variability. So as we try and we work on variabilities within the organization, quality is likely to go up. In other words, in environments where we see high level of variability, quality is likely to be affected. So if variability in the product, if variability in the product characteristics of a product or service decreases, the quality of the product or service increases. Now compare the comparative study in one of the automobile companies in the United States of a transmission that was manufactured in a domestic plant and by a Japanese supplier. Warranty claims and repair costs for the domestic plants was greater compared to that of the Japanese supplier, which means variability in the domestic plant was higher than the one supplied from the Japanese supplier. Investigations revealed that there were more variability in the domestic plants than in the Japanese supplier. You see, and when variability increases, it raises quality issues. It raises quality issues. Customer complaints are likely to go up. So this was the Japanese manufacturer or supplier. This was the United States domestic plants. So you see, if you look at the standard deviation here, look at this one. So deviation from the mean is quite low compared to the United States one. If this is the mean, look at that wide deviation from the mean, you see? So variability raises quality concerns and it can lead to serious customer complaints. So what explains the differences between Japanese and US products? Systematic and effective use of quality improvement methods. And let me say this here once we are talking about the Japanese products. Today, almost everybody in this class would love a Japanese product. But after World War II, the term made in Japan was so derogatory that people didn't want to. I mean, if you hear made in Japan, you know that it's a rubbish. The product is rubbish, or it's a rubbish product. Just like 10 years ago, made in China. Even now, the conception hasn't changed drastically. Or what do you think, class? If we hear made in China, even now, we still associate something with it, don't we?
That's true, sir.
Within our mind, we associate some level of
Yes,
poor
we do.
or inconsistent quality with it. And that was the dilemma Japan faced soon after World War II. Companies were trashed down with the war, and they were trying to rebuild. So quality was quite down. Products were of poor quality, and the West were just making fun of Japan. So if you hear made in Japan, it was a product that people wouldn't even buy in terms of their competitiveness in the West. But that did not discourage Japan. What did they do? They started working hard to the extent that they brought some of the experts. You see, and that's one lesson we can all learn in life. Sometimes it is obvious that you don't know something. And if you don't know, simply admit and learn it. It would not take anything from you. But sometimes out of pride, even though we don't know, we pretend as if we know. Most African countries are like that. See? They didn't pretend. They went to the West and brought in people like the Edward Deming. Some of the quality gurus in the West, they brought them to Japan to come and help. And over a little over a decade, Japan was able to catch up with the West to the extent that some of the quality philosophies that currently has been widely accepted within the management textbooks originated from Japan. Talk about the concept of just in time. It's a Japanese concept. Talk about the concept of what is it? Oh, the fishbone diagram, which is another quality, a tool for diagnosing quality problems in organization, was also from Japan. Talk about, I think in class last week, I mentioned Taguchi methods. Do you remember?
Yes, please.
You remember
Yes.
I mentioned Taguchi methods.
Yes.
And what did I say about Taguchi? What did I say about Taguchi methods?
It's a process that's based on 8 steps of planning.
They are the methods that we use, organizations would use to ensure, build robustness into their products. Otherwise, you buy a phone today, you drop it, the phone falls, and then it breaks up. But Taguchi methods exposes the product to all the possible ways in which the product can be damaged or quality can be affected. And then they try and then build strength into it so that it can withstand those pressures. And that is also from Japan. So many of the quality tools that we are learning today in management came from Japan. But some years ago, they were the worst. They were the poorest. You see? And then again, today, if we talk about the best engine in the world, which engine? The best engine in the world, who knows? It's Honda. It's not Toyota, it's Honda engine.
Okay, sir.
And where is it coming from? Honda is a Japanese product. And if we talk about, I mean, on our roads, some of the best automobiles that we drive, Toyota is coming from Japan. What about Nissan? Is Nissan also coming from Japan?
Yes.
Yes. You see? So that's about it. And we can all learn lessons from here. At one point, if you don't know, you can take the decision to learn and you can become the best in industry. So what explains the difference between Japanese and US products? It's one, systematic and effective use of quality improvement methods, some of which I've mentioned. Reduced variability translates into lower cost. You see, when you are producing and you have higher variability, remember that it also increases your cost. Maybe let me bring in a raw example for you to demonstrate. Maybe we are producing cocoa king, and we are selling, and we haven't measured the amount of sugar we put into a particular quantity of cocoa. So customers have complained that some of the cocoa we sell, the sugar content is too much, which means that sometimes we fetch more than necessary of the sugar we put into the size of the same cocoa. Now, if you are to fetch, let's say 1 teaspoon, and then you happen to fetch 1 tablespoon into that cocoa, do you know you have increased your cost?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
How have you increased your cost?
The quantity of by increasing the quantity of sugar, you're using more sugar than needed. Like the extra you're using is not necessary, and you've wasted
Extra, excellent. The extra is an extra cost to you, and that extra can go into reduce your profits. Can go into reduce your profit. So inconsistency in the amount of sugar we are putting into the cocoa is a typical example of the variability issues we are talking about here. Yes, we are not saying that all products can have the same, can have everything the same. There may be slight variability, and that is acceptable in manufacturing or in production. But when these variabilities are so obvious, then it becomes a problem. Those of you who have skills in your house, or what do we call it? Weighing skills in your house, eh? Anytime you go shopping and you buy a tin of Milo, what should be the size, the weight of a tin of Milo? Oh, you have not observed. Come on, don't tell me this.
Simply 400 grams.
400 grams. Anytime you go shopping and you have money, buy two. When you come home, weigh them individually. The 400 grams, weigh them individually and see. You have that small, somebody is in the chat room. Let me see what the person is saying. Yeah, it hasn't. Sir, please, why do they focus less on the customer? Okay, I think we've gone beyond that explanation. Okay, so there is that small variability which is acceptable because you can have it. It's machines that fill them. And sometimes there could be slight variation which is acceptable. But when they are so obvious, it becomes an issue. Now, if you are not so meticulous to go and buy the 400 grams, two of the 400 grams and then weigh them to see if they are the same, you will notice it. But where they claim it's 400 grams and you open it and it's half can, definitely you are going to be upset. You are going to be upset. You are going to be upset. Okay. So reduced variability translates into lower costs. And it also translates because there will be fewer repairs, there will be fewer warranty claims, there will be a reduction of wasted time, effort, as well as money. Quality is the ability of a product. So here we are trying to provide a modern day definition of the concept of quality. Quality is the ability of a product or service to consistently meet or exceed customer expectations. Let's try and analyze this definition. Quality is the ability of a product or service to consistently meet or exceed customer expectation. What keywords do you observe from this definition? What keywords do you observe from this definition?
Consistency and meeting customers, exceeding customers' expectations.
So one word is consistency or consistently. So consistency. What other word?
Meeting customers, exceeding customers' expectations.
Exceeding customer expectation. What other word? Meet customer expectation, or we exceed it. Okay. In fact, we can even put the expectation as one word. So we exceed all. Now let's understand that when we are trying to define quality, we cannot define quality leaving the customer out. Why is the customer important? I have emphasized on this point severally, that whatever it is that our organization, our company is producing, whether we are delivering service, we are producing products, we are not delivering or producing the product or service for its own sake, but we are doing this to solve a problem in society. And problems in society are problems that are encountered by people, customers. So customers would have expectations, and the product or service that we are delivering must be able to meet or exceed those expectations. But it's also important that we bear in mind that we should not meet it today and tomorrow only. We must meet it today, we must meet it yesterday, meet it today, and meet it tomorrow. You see, no matter what you do to a woman, and the woman tells you, oh, you are the most lovely husband in the world. You're the most lovely boyfriend in the world because you kept doing that consistently. Drop down a little. Just drop down a little and see whether, and once you drop down, what has happened? The quality has
Reduced.
reduced. Quality has reduced, and the woman will forget about the fact that yesterday you met it. Today you have met it, and tomorrow you can't meet it because it's no longer consistent. Anger will come. Eventually, it might lead to divorce. So consistency in quality is important. And we are just like, I keep saying, we are just like them, like women. I always say women, we can compare them to customers. We are now in love with Melcom. We are in love with ShopRite. We do our shopping there. Let's begin to see that they are dropping in quality. Products that we are buying from them are rubbish. We'll forget that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we bought good product from them. Or yesterday, we bought good product from them. If that consistency drops, they are out of market. So quality is the ability of a product or service to consistently meet or exceed customer expectation. Do you have any question on this definition? Any question on the definition? Sorry, women who are taking offense, please forgive me. This is just classroom example. People take things personal too much.
So we are not taking it personal.
Please, we are not offended.
You don't know the message I'm receiving. So apologies to those who are, if I say women are like, customers are like women. Anyway, I withdraw. Okay, so the implications of this definition: 1, satisfaction. Evaluation of persons external to the company. Customers must be satisfied. And how do we make them satisfied? We need to do an evaluation by people who are external to the company, so customer service can do it. And then teamwork to ensure customer needs and expectations are met. For us to be able to meet customer expectation, we need teamwork. So where would this teamwork come from? What team are we talking about here? What team are we talking about here?
So that'll be customer service.
That'll be customer service.
Yes, yes.
But we are saying teamwork. So if you say customer service, you have not said anything. Teamwork from who and who and who? Who and who and who for this teamwork?
It will be okay, someone's answering. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I'm thinking about the customer and the people producing the product.
Yes, so all relevant stakeholders are important. We need teamwork. We need a customer. You remember what we saw the last time in class, on-site class, that what we meant by concurrent design. Do you remember anything like that?
Yes, sir.
Where we break down the barriers, the walls. So marketing will play a role, design engineers will play a role, production will play a role, the customer himself will play a role. So we need that teamwork to ensure the customer needs and expectations are met. And then we also need to understand that quality is dynamic. Dynamic. It's a moving object. It's a moving object. What is quality product or service yesterday may not be quality product or service yesterday. The difference between performance and expectation is important. Now, when we subtract expectation from performance, we have 3 possibilities. maybe briefly on quality is dynamic. So as an organization, and this is the reason why we see organizations from time to time trying to give their products a new shape, a new image, trying to bring improvement into the products. Recently, I saw a key soap advert. I don't know whether you have also seen it. And if you look at what they are saying, basically what they are trying to say now is that now it's good scented. Which is something we don't used to see or know in the past. You see, that product is virtually at the last stage. So it's only a few people who are not stuck to it. If they do anything to raise, which is one of the lectures we see as we go along, if they do anything to raise the price, those who are in love with it will also switch and they will lose the entire market because there are other alternatives on the market seriously competing with them. Hello, no. 1 minute. What was I talking about? Joe, what was I talking about?
So you're talking about
Key soap and for them
The key
not
soap
to
adverts.
increase the price to lose the.
Yeah, it's a key issue. So quality is dynamic. From time to time, let's try and see what customers expect of the product. You see, and look at the car which I drive, Toyota Corolla. Look at when Corolla came. Look at the features. As we progress in time, look at the new features they are adding to it. Look at the new shape and all that. It's all because what used to be quality about 10 years ago, customers today wouldn't see that as quality simply because their expectations have changed. And therefore, the product must be produced to satisfy the new expectations of the customer. If you know what we call mirage, when you have lived in a village and you have walked on the sun before, in a heated sun when you are walking, you look ahead of you and you can see something like flame of fire, the heat which is coming up. And as you draw closer to that, it moves forward. That's what we call mirage. Quality is like that. As we come close, it moves on. It keeps moving on. Okay. So maybe we'll look at the 3 possibilities. So from the 3 definitions given above, we understand that the design of goods and services must take into account customer requirements, their production process, and cost. 3 things. If we want to be able to satisfy the customer's requirements, remember we cannot satisfy the customer's requirement at an extraordinary cost. At the end of the day, we must also, as a company, we must also be able to make profit enough to sustain our operations. So design of goods and services must take into account 1, the requirements or the expectations of the customer, what production processes that we need to put in place in order to deliver the customer's requirement, and the cost implications of that. We need to take that also into consideration. Variability must be tackled seriously to bring about quality of conformance. And to tackle the issue of variability, we need to make sure that we are making equipment capable. We are training and motivating staff or workers. We are monitoring and the taking of corrective action where necessary, and then improving quality of supervision. All these are important points, actions that could be taken to ensure that variability minimizes. Can anybody explain to the class how or why making equipment capable can lead to reduction in variability? Can anybody explain? Abu Hassan Farid. Okay. Nana ya Edward Mankwa, your hand is up. Nana ya.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Doc.
Morning, Nana ya. Happy to hear your voice.
Okay, sir. So please, when the equipment is of modern technology, which can function efficiently, you will be able to reduce variability.
Yeah. Okay, great. Any addition to that? Abu Hassan Farid.
Good morning, Doc.
Morning.
Well, Doc, I also share thoughts because if it's of modern technology, it will be able to reduce the variability, and also you would have more. Hello?
I'm here. Farid, I'm here. Okay, I think we have lost Farid.
Hello?
Hello, Farid, we can hear you. Farid, we can hear you. All right, Farid, it's okay. Let me continue because of time. So, Nana Edwa Mankwa, you are right. You are right. We need to be able to make equipment capable. And it's not only when we employ modern equipment, even if we are using old equipment, we must make sure that these equipments are well maintained. And once they are well maintained, there will be consistency in what they produce. And it's important that organizations adopt the preventive maintenance strategy. The preventive maintenance strategy. So with the preventive maintenance strategy, you don't allow the machine to break down before you fix it. When you do that, the cost of maintenance becomes exorbitant, becomes so high. You see? Sometimes I wonder why you go to some places and a machine which is being used to render a service, they tell you that, oh, our machine has been, particularly some of these are hospitals. Our scanner has broken down for about close to 7 months now. It has not been repaired. Our X-ray machine. And these are some of the issues that crop up if the machines are not regularly maintained. It's like a human being that doesn't go for a checkup. If you go for a checkup and something is building up in your body, it will get detected earlier. And that's a preventive maintenance strategy. It will get detected earlier and they can solve it. But if we don't maintain the body and then we wait, oh, it's all right, God is the one that takes care of us. We pray. Yes, prayer is good. But eventually when the thing becomes so serious, you are taken to the hospital once and it's too late now for anything to be done. So we don't maintain the equipment, we don't make them capable, they break down, and the cost of parts to fix the machine becomes so exorbitant that we can no longer afford it and we leave it. And we say government should come and give us another machine when preventive maintenance could have solved that problem. See? Even our own cars that we drive, which if we don't maintain them, we can see variability in their performance. Sometimes you are on the road to an important meeting and then it breaks down on the highway. You have not made the car capable. What it needs to be done to make it capable, you haven't. Okay? Then training of staff. Look at yourself. Look at where you are working. Ask yourself, when was the last time you went for a training? But these trainings are very important. I've told you elsewhere some of the international bobo jobs that we did. Yeah. Some of the roles, every 3 months, you need to renew your training, even though it's so fresh in your mind. I remember I gave you the example of Medication, administering medication to people. Once your this thing expires even a single day, you cannot administer. Your certificate expires at a single day, you cannot administer medication to anybody. You are disqualified from working. Training is very, very important, as well as motivating staff. All these things can help to improve, reduce variability in products and services. Okay. Quality cannot be underestimated or overlooked by any firm in today's global business environment. We know, and it is true. Some of us don't buy made in Ghana products just because, I'm not saying myself, just because we feel that the quality of such products compared to the imported ones is low. Me as an individual, I love the made in Ghana slippers so much so that that's what I wear at home, even in my office. When I have one here, when I get to the office and remove my shoes, I use the made in Ghana slippers. But one thing I dislike about them, and I keep complaining, I don't know when they are going to solve that problem. Just use it in water. I mean, let there be rain, and then you pass through the rain, you step in water, and then it begins to open. So I keep asking myself, can't they buy the glue that is used in manufacturing the same sandals or slippers that is coming from abroad? What kind of glue do they use? Such that if you step in water once or twice, then the sandals or the slippers begin to split into two. You see? But as an ardent lover of these slippers, I keep buying them. At least in my office, I don't step in water, so I use it. I use it. Bismarck, you are saying the same glue way. It's not, oh, I don't think. And then the leather also peels off. It's so worrying. It's so worrying. When I read what Canada did to get to where they are, and even to today, when a Canadian, typical Canadian goes shopping, and he or she wants to buy a product, the first mindset is that let me look for a product which is locally manufactured, which is produced in Canada. If that alternative is not there, then I look for a product that came from outside. So that way, they are able to encourage production within their own country. They're able to encourage production within their own country. And when production is going on, employment also goes up. Anytime I visit some of these supermarkets like ShopRite, Game, Melco, look at the products in there. And I tell myself that if Ghana were to produce just 10% of these products on their shelves, we wouldn't have Association of Unemployed Youth. You see? But people will go into production, cost of production is so high that they will not be able to compete with those that are coming from abroad, and eventually they have to work out of bread. Go to Melcom, go to ShopRite, look at their shelves. What are the products which are manufactured in Ghana? I think I keep citing the alcoholic beverages. That's where we are strong in. That's what we manufacture most. Anyway, we pray that things will change and eventually we'll do better than what we are doing now.
Sir,
Quality, yes, sir.
sometimes it's not our fault, especially with the guys. Like when you buy locally produced dresses, I don't know if I'm the only one. The zip, it doesn't take the best you get is like 3 months. You have to change the zip, the flap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it's not the same for buying foreign produced.
Foreign products. And so this And this is where I keep saying that. So we need a national strategy to try and build quality into our local production. So an institute like NBSSI, National Board for Small Scale Industries, could be organizing some of these trainings. You see, but they will also tell you that they are cash strapped, and so they cannot afford such trainings. And everybody is doing what they feel is good for them.
And we are also not paying for those who would charge us and do it proper. We are also not.
We are not. We are not. We are not. But once we're able to build some level of confidence in terms of quality of our local products, look, we can generate a high level of employment for our country. It borders a lot on quality. It borders a lot on quality. Okay, we have two comments in there. Okay, finishing is the issue. Okay, Ghana has a long way to go with the perception of locally produced goods. I agree with you, Reginald. Theo, there are very good zips, but they will use because they are expensive. Gifty, are you sure?
Yes, sir.
That's a fact, eh?
Yes,
They are
please.
good zips, but because when they use them, the product will become expensive and people will not buy it.
Yes.
So then it becomes pentimaminto. Anyway. Our friend from, is it Sierra Leone? The lady who sat on, is it Z?
Yes, Doc, Isata.
Isata. Is it the same with your country too?
Yes, it's the same thing.
The same?
Yes, please.
You don't have the culture where people are in love with locally manufactured products and they will love to buy that. They will prefer that to imported goods?
No. They think that it's of less quality. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Let's move on. So quality cannot be all. We've read that. Quality is cited by CEOs and business leaders as the most important factor in the long-term profitability and success of their firms. For an organization to continue for a long time, like companies which are over 100 years old, is because of consistency in the products that they deliver to customers. So if you want to survive in the long term, quality should be a critical factor you should look at. Globalization and foreign competition began to change the business environment from the 1970s, and it keeps growing. So today, it's all over the place. Now we see goods which are manufactured all across the globe on a local market. Okay. The Japanese achieved enhanced product quality by adapting many of the principles of quality management originally developed in US, combined with their own quality-focused management philosophies. I think I've already spoken about this, the Japanese. Look, in this world, if you don't know, admit you don't know and learn. So what are the dimensions of quality? If we say a product, a good, a product, a manufactured good is quality. What do we see as a quality product? What are the attributes? What are the dimensions? What do we want to see? So typically, like, let me pick somebody in the class. Ofosima, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Ofosima, are you married?
No, please.
Oh, so you can't be a good. Priscilla, okay, means are you married?
Yes, yes.
You are.
Yes.
I'm sure you proudly describe your husband as a good husband.
Very much so.
Excellent. So if you were to share with the class the qualities of a good husband, what would you say? In bullet points, not in sentences, bullet points. Bang, 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 bang. Just give us 3.
I should give you 3. Supportive, protective, and gives attention. Yes.
Supportive,
protective,
and then a third one.
Attention.
Thank you. The lady whose name I mentioned first, is it Ofuzima?
Yes, please.
You said you are not married, correct?
Yes, sir.
But you've been in a relationship before?
No, please.
Radinka Huati. Look, when cost rep, note the name that way and remind me, I want to see her face when we meet on site in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, I'll personally bring her.
So baby say she knows I'm going to ask her a question. She goes, no. But I'll meet you in class, don't worry. So if we say a product is of good quality, these are the dimensions, just like Priscilla said: protective, adaptive, and other tips. Okay, so 1, performance. And performance here, we are referring to the basic operating characteristics of the product. So the product should be able to perform the basic function. And in terms of a car, we can look at the mileage. When we are buying cars, quite often we look at the petrol gas consumption rates. And this is the reason why you would often ask, oh, what is the CC of this car? And most of us would want to go for 1.8. Then you begin to look for the 2.7. Then you begin to look for the 3. When you are in government employment, you don't care because the car will be fueled by the government. So we go for the 4.0, we go for the 5.0. But as an ordinary person, average working Ghanaian, we tend to focus between the 1.6 and then the 2.4. I think RAV4, the CC of RAV4 is 2.4, right? Nobody drives a RAV4 here.
The 2.0, we have 2.0 and 2.5.
Okay. 2.7, 2.4. Oh, but I used to have one which was 2.4 anyway. Maybe the modern ones. So look at the performance. These are the 8 dimensions: performance, features, reliability. We've talked about reliability. What about features? The extra items added to the basic functions of features of the product. Every product should have its basic function. What is the basic function of the phone? What is the basic function of the phone? If we all agree. To make and
receive calls. Make calls and receive calls.
Yes, to make and receive calls. All other functionalities are secondary. A phone that allows you to record, let's say, things like this that we are doing online. So the recording feature is secondary. And those are some of the things that we talk about as features. Now, most touch phones have cameras on them. Camera is also a secondary feature of the product. So features, they describe the extra items we add to the product to make them attractive. Then reliability, probability that a product will operate properly within an expected time frame. So when cars are manufactured, the idea, most cars will run for about 5 years without repairs or without any serious repairs. Over here, within the public institutions, if they use the car for 5 years, after 5 years, they will auction the car. After 5 years, they will auction the car. Okay. And then conformance, the degree to which a product meets pre-established standards. Remember, we talked about conformance already. The engineer would have certain features at the back of his or his mind. So the degree to which a product meets these pre-established standards is the conformance. Durability, Ewachi, your hand is up. Let's move on. Can you ask your question, Ewachi?
Sir, please, we're talking about when the car is being used for 5 years in the public sectors, they are being auctioned. But I think with my experience in the public sector, we've been using the car for about 7 years now, and we are still using them. So
okay, well, so maybe that's your institution.
Okay.
That's your institution, because recently I have been to an auction in a public institution. 2015 cars were all being auctioned. But I don't know, it's not automatic policy. I think so, it's not automatic policy.
Okay, sir.
I was here. Durability. It's lifespan before replacement. Durability, please get the meaning of this, because this is one area where if you ask students to tell you the dimensions of quality of a manufactured product, you tend to misinterpret this 0.5, durability. Durability doesn't mean the product should last long. Nanaya, durability doesn't mean the product should last long. Because some products are not designed to last long. Every product will have its own lifespan. And some lifespan can be short, some lifespan can be long. So if I ask you to explain durability to me and you tell me that durability means the product should last should last long, I will mark you wrong, because that is not the meaning of durability. So durability simply means the product should be able to last its lifespan. What is the lifespan of a disposable camera? Just one use. After using it, what do you have to do with it? You throw it away. It has ended its life. Yeah? What is the lifespan of a condom?
One use, sir.
One use. You can wash it and dry it and reuse. One use. And that is how it has been designed to do. So in the one use, and that one use can be 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 1 hour. Durability would mean that within that 30 minutes use, the condom should function normally without a break. You see? So apart from these two products, disposable camera, condoms, what again? Any related products that normally wouldn't have that long lifespan. Any other product? Come on, think.
The sanitary pad.
Great, great, great. So for those 5 hours that it has to be there, it should be able to function properly without tears and damages or anything. So durability does not mean the product should last long. It simply means that the product should be able to last its lifespan. Serviceability refers to the ease of getting the product repairs. Many of the products we use, I mean, those that are not for one-time use, they would from time to time break down, and we need to be able to service them. When there is a problem with a product, we shouldn't go through hell trying to fix the problem. If There are some of the cars. 1 minute. Hello, Charles. Morning. Class. Some of the cars that we drive in Ghana here that are not serviced locally. So if you're an average Ghanaian worker and you want to buy a car and you go and buy that car, you can imagine the hell you go through. But if you are rich, yeah, you need avenues to spend your money, then you can do it. When time comes for you to service the car, you fly it abroad, go for servicing, and then you bring it back. I pray one day all of you will be in that position where you can take your cars abroad to go and service them. Because they're expensive cars. But serviceability here is simply the reason why we like Toyota cars, because the reason why we like Nissan cars, is it Opel or Hyundai or Hyundai cars, is because the parts are readily available. If you go to Aboso Kind, it's not difficult to get them fixed when they break down. So serviceability is another element of quality. Then we have aesthetics, how a product looks, feels, sounds, smells, tastes. Sometimes that is also very important. Safety, so the assurance that the customer will not suffer injury or harm from a product, and other perceptions, subjective perceptions based on brand name. So for example, if I come to the class now of my 26 students, 26 students, and then I select, let me see, who do I pick on this morning? I pick Sadiq Ahmed, are you there? Sadiq, are you there? Francis Natam, are you there? Hey. Francis, are you there? Have I muted myself? No. So where is Sadiq? Is it what you people do? Reginald, are you there?
Sir, yes, sir. Sound you.
Okay. Reginald, this morning I'm being generous. For being regular in my class, I'm going to dash you a car. In fact, I have Mercedes-Benz and I have Opel Astra. Which of these two cars are you going to pick?
Benz.
Which one would you pick?
I'll pick the Benz.
You pick the Benz. Why? Because of the perception of quality with it.
Yes.
See, so other perceptions go into our determination of what a quality product is. A quality product is. Recently, a friend brought me cars from Toyota cars from Taiwan. And interestingly, I find it difficult selling the cars. Toyota car is Toyota car. People will come and say, oh, they are Chinese cars. They are Chinese cars. So I asked them, so which one do you want? They said, we want the American or the Europe one. Hey! Anyway. So these are all some of the perceptions that can influence the quality of the product. What are the dimensions of quality of service? Quality for services. One, time and timeliness. So for services, the length of waiting time and completion on time, very, very important. Not every customer would want to be in a queue for a long time waiting to be served. So the length of waiting time is quite critical. It affects the quality of that service. Then completeness, providing all that the customer asks for. Providing all that the customer asks for. Doing things right. Doing things right, very critical, very important. I'm sure you'll be wondering, what is this completeness? Recently, it has come on the news that some of our doctors have done serious mistakes, and they have even been left to go scot-free. You do a surgery on a patient, and you leave a scissors in the stomach of that patient. Is that completeness?
No, sir.
You see? Make sure that the service we are delivering is without mistake, is without obvious errors. Obvious errors. And I don't know whether when they are doing that surgery, they don't have a checklist of the items they bring close to the patient, so that when they finish, they can check the boxes and say, these items we brought, we are taking them back. So you have a list of all the items you brought, and you have all the list of all the items you are taking away. And you leave a scissors in somebody's stomach. Serious. Then courtesy, how customers are treated by employees. Anytime I mention this one, I like one of the banks I usually visit. The moment you enter the banking hall, a beautiful lady in a nice skirt will walk straight to you and smile to you. Hello, sir, how may I help you today? You'll stop what you are thinking. I don't like that. So courtesy. How would you feel approaching a service, and then the person serving you frowns the face and talks to you as if he or she is angry with you? I'm sure you will not even want to go and enjoy that service again. So courtesy is also very important, very, very important. And this is where I hate the, excuse my language, or hate in inverted commas, I hate the French. It is as if they are forced to smile at you. You walk into a shop and the person will look at it and then put up a fake smile. And that lasts for just about 3 seconds. And then the face goes back to normal. And so straight away, that tells you that the smile the person put up was fake. Because if it's genuine, you see that it continues in the interaction. But you don't see this. And that was something I picked up the first time I went to Paris. Okay, then the next one is accessibility and convenience. For service, unlike manufacturing, which can take place far away from the customer, for services, accessibility and convenience, very, very important. Yeah. And that is why we see Melcom penetrating into the communities where we live, because they are rendering a service, and that service has to be close to the customer. Once it's close to the customer is most likely going to patronize it. Even those who had initially not had the mind to patronize, because the service is close to them, they would want to patronize it. For many of you, look at where you do your haircuts. I don't think you'll be in a Blake, where I am, and I travel all the way to Osu to go and have a haircut. You would want to have something close. You see? So accessibility and convenience, very important. And then accuracy is the service performed right every time. Last one is responsiveness. How well the company reacts to unusual situations. If there are issues, how well do you respond to it? How well do you respond to issues? Yeah, responsiveness. Like in 2013 or 2014, something that happened in England. Please Google the horse meat scandal. Horse, H-O-R-E, H-O-R-S-E, horse meat scandal, and see when it happened. Has anybody found it?
Sir.
2013.
Yes.
Yeah. When you have, after the lecture, read about it. It's an interesting thing. The supermarkets like we have in Ghana, ShopRite, Malcolm, they sell in beef burgers, that round balled meat. And they were getting these supplies from countries in Europe. Apparently, everybody knows that a beef burger, like the name sounds, beef, is made from what meat? From beef.
Cow.
Cow meat. Not knowing the suppliers were using a lot of horse with little cow meat. You see, lot of horse meat, and then they add a little beef or cow meat. And then the equivalent in Ghana, like the FDA was doing their regular tests, and they found a DNA of horse in one of the balls of meat, the burgers. Then they said, DNA of horse in a beef burger, there must be something wrong. Then they expanded the test. They discovered, oh, it was a national issue. One of the supermarkets that was heavily affected was Tesco's, but they were quite responsive. Quickly, what they did was they pulled out all the burgers in all their stores and destroyed it, to the extent that they even record those who have bought it and they have not used it. They ask customers, if you have bought it and you have not used it, bring it. And that is the responsiveness, how well a company reacts to unusual situations. But I'm sure you are asking, but why would they do that? Horse is another form of meat, yes. But remember, not everybody takes horse. In fact, if you go to Italy, horse meat is a delicacy. It is the rich people who can afford. But in England, there are a lot of Muslims, a lot of people from India who worship who don't take horse meat. So the person goes to the supermarket to say that I'm going to buy a burger, which I know is made up of beef or cow meat, and it turns out that horse, or even in Ghana here, don't you have people eating snakes? So if you go to Malcolm to go and buy a burger, and you know it is made up of cow meat, and it turns out that they are using snake meat, won't you be offended? You will. So that was the issue. And this is about responsiveness. For services, you need to be responsive, quickly react to situations that come up. Quality of conformance. So what is quality of conformance? Quality of conformance is the degree to which goods or services conform to the intent of designers. We have already explained this. Now, there are factors that influence the quality of conformance. The design of the production process, performance level of machinery, equipment, and technology, the materials used, training and supervision of employees, degree to which statistical quality control techniques are used. All these factors will contribute for us to ensure that whatever we had in mind for the product to do, the product after manufacturing will be able to satisfy that purpose. Key personnel in achieving conformance to specification are engineering staff, supervisors and managers, as well as employees. And all of them will require training, appropriate training. Quality management systems. What is a quality management system? Every organization would want to make sure that customers are confident of the quality level coming from them. Maybe before I even talk about organizations, let's take ourselves as individuals in our homes. We all have our quality management systems. It is a quality management system that you have that pushes you to brush your teeth twice in a day, in the morning and then in the evening. It is the quality management system you have that pushes you to have a shower or a bath in the morning and before you start work, and then you also have one at the end of the day's work. Some of us, your quality management system dictates that you only have it in the morning, So you do it in the morning, you don't do it again. Your quality management systems allow. Your quality management system that you run at home can mean that when the family finishes eating in the evening, the dishes are left to the next morning. In other homes, the quality management system is that no dish is left to the next morning to be washed. Straight away after eating, everybody does his own dishes. Very, very important. So what system do we have in place to ensure that we build quality into the product we are delivering to, or we are selling to our customers, or the service we are delivering to our customers? That's what a quality management system is. The arrangement we put in place to assure customers of the fulfillment of quality in the product or service. That is what we describe as the quality management system. And we have different management systems. We have different approaches. We have different types of quality management systems. Like I have just demonstrated to you with the arrangement we have at home. The arrangement we have at home may not have any name, but there are different types of quality management systems at home. See? So companies need to make sure that products and services have the quality that they have been designed for. This requires that companies develop a strategy to achieve quality throughout the company. This approach to managing quality throughout the organization is known as the quality management system. So the arrangement you put in place, the systems you put in place within the entire organization to ensure that we are consistently meeting the quality expectations of the customer is what we refer to as the quality management system. Now, prominent people in this respect that have come up with some of these quality management systems include Walter Sheward, but he engineered what we call the control charts. W. Edward Demings, but sometimes quality is even called the father of quality. He promoted the managerial aspects of control charts. We also have what we call the Demings PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, plus the 14 points. And then we also have Joseph Duran, who saw projects as means of quality improvement. We have Armand van Feigenbaum, who is known with respect to total quality control and continuous quality improvement. We have Philip Crosby, who advocated the idea that quality is free, which means cost of poor quality far outweigh the cost of preventing poor quality. So he engineered the idea that yes, we could build zero defects into products. Then we have Karo Ishikawa, who promoted quality circles and fishbone diagram. So the internal customer. Okay. What are some of the quality management tools, or what we refer to as quality management tools? Now, these individuals, these ones, Ishikawa, Philip Crosby, Feigenbaum, Edward Deming, all of them. These individuals prescribe a number of tools to identify the causes of problems that lead to poor quality products. Now, these include check sheets, Pareto charts, histograms through bar charts, process flow charts, scatter diagrams, statistical process control, and then cause and effect analysis. These are some of the tools we apply in production shop floors to ensure that, yes, we are identifying and we are correcting errors in products. We call these the Magnificent Seven. The Magnificent Seven. So let's pick them one after the other and look at them, the Magnificent Seven. The first one is a check sheet. So what's a check sheet? A check sheet is a list of causes of quality problems. Each defective product is examined to determine which quality problem makes or make it defective. A tally is marked against the particular quality problem. Data can be collected over time period, at the end of which frequencies are computed for each quality problem. The quality problem with the highest frequency is identified and measures taken to minimize its occurrence. So in this our example here, we are producing a product and the key of potential defects are A, B, and C. So we check our output, our products to see which of these defects are highly frequent. Our production hours in a day, 8 hours. In the first hour, when we checked, out of the products that we produced in the first hour, we had one occurrence of defect A. We had 3 occurrences of defect B, and we had 2 occurrences of defect C. In the second hour, we had 2 occurrences, which means the product we produce, as they come out and we examine them, we saw that 2 of them had defect A. 1 had defect B, and one had defect C. In the third hour, no defect A, no defect B, but 1 defect C. Fourth hour, the same thing, no defect A, 1 defect B, 1 defect C. We go on to the end of the day, the 8 hours. And then we tally. In total, we can see that defect B and C are quite frequent. So this pushes us to take action. In this case, I mean, the frequencies are almost at par, 9, 11, and 10. So 9, 10, and 11. And so there will be the need for us to put measures in place to ensure that all 3 defects are minimized. We look at the sources of these defects and minimize them. In some instances, a particular defect may occur minor in minor terms, very few occasions or rare occasions, which means it's not a frequent happening. And so we might decide that since it really occurs, we might gloss over it and then pay attention to those defects which are quite popular and which are quite frequent. And then we take action to correct them. Up to this point, any question or questions? Up to this point, any question? What is the name for this? What's the name for this?
Check sheet.
Check sheet, thank you. We move on to the Pareto charts. The name comes from Pareto, Wilfredo Pareto. When you have time, Google this man and read on him. He's become quite popular in terms of management studies. Why we associate him to some of the concepts in management. It is based on Duran's finding that most quality problems and costs result from only a few causes. You see, and Duran also got the idea from this Pareto studies. He was an economist. Was it in the 18th century or so? Italian economist. He did a study in Italy and established that 20% of the resources of Italy, 20% of the resources of Italy were owned by 80% of the people. And that 80% of the resources of Italy were owned by just 20% of the people. Does that make sense to you? The economist in his research established that 80% of the resources of Italy were owned by just 20% of the people. And that the 80% of the people in Italy at the time owned only 20% of the resources. And since then, that concept, the 80-20 rule, I'm sure you've come across it severally in many of the disciplines or courses you are studying. 80-20 rule, this is the source. And that study, I'm sure, will even apply to our country here today. That 80% of the people will own only 20% of the resources, and that the 20% of the people will own the 80% of the resources. It is based on that finding that Duran also proposed this problem, this issue, what we call the Pareto chart. It says that most quality problems and costs result from only a few causes. So a few of the causes, defects, will result in higher cost in terms of quality. And the majority of the issues, we can gloss over them because they don't really create much concern. Now, correcting few major causes of most of the quality problems will result in great cost impact. That's what it means. From a check sheet, we construct a bar chart with height of bars either in ascending, this is what makes it a Pareto chart. With check sheets, with the bars either in ascending or descending order. This is useful visual aid for focusing on major quality problems. So straight away from the bars, you can tell which quality problems are recurrent, are high, and which we need to pay attention to. You develop this from the check sheet, which we have done here. Yeah, then we can have what we call a Pareto chart. So you see, we can have it in ascending order. Is this ascending order or descending order?
Descending order.
Descending order. So we can turn it so that A comes first, followed by C, followed by B. That would be the ascending order. This is a descending order. This is a descending order, and this is a Pareto chart. This is a Pareto chart. We can also have histograms in bar charts, which helps in getting sense of distribution of observed values, whether symmetrical, range of values, any unusual values, can have this. It also helps in identifying the defect that is causing most of the defects. When this is investigated and corrected, quality can be improved tremendously. Yeah? So, Adam, Tassicius.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Please. I don't get the relation the Pareto principles and the chart there. I don't see how the charts explain anything actually.
You don't see how, Adam?
The Pareto chart.
You don't, okay. You don't see how the Pareto chart, you don't understand it?
the defects either in descending or ascending order.
You don't see.
I don't see how that relates to real life situation or how it explains.
Oh, Adam, we
real life.
said that we build the Pareto chart from a check sheet. Where do we get the check sheets from? Is it not from real life? Hello, Adam.
Okay, sir.
We are producing.
I didn't get a check sheet aspect. My link was off.
Okay.
Okay.
So we compile this data.
I didn't get a check sheet.
Okay. We compile this data whilst we are producing. So we are producing like mobile phone. We produce the first one, and the first one, there is a problem with the glass. It didn't fit well. Within the first one, within the first hour, within that same first hour, there were 3 of the mobile phones that we produced that, in fact, there is the problem with the awning. The power was not coming. Then the third one, within that same 1 hour, another defect, which is maybe the weight of the phone. It was too much. So we keep noting what the problems are. At the end of the 8 hours, we know the frequency of these defects. And we are saying that we translate this data from the production floor into a Pareto chart. But remember that the fundamental aim of the Pareto chart as proposed by Duran is the fact that Duran simply wants to say that a lot of the quality cost and quality problems come from very few causes. So 80% of quality cost and quality problems come from only 20% of causes. I've given you the source of the name Pareto, that he was an Italian economist who did their research in Italy at the time in the 18th century and discovered that 80% of the resources of Italy were owned by 20% of the people living in Italy, and that 20% of the resources of Italy were owned by 80% of the people. And since then, that has become the 80-20 rule. We have imported this concept into inventory control, into operations management, into a lot of disciplines, even in accounting. Those of you doing accounting, I understand there is something you call 80-20 something, I don't know. It's in a lot of disciplines. That is the source.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you have in accounting?
Even in football, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Football, what do we have?
I don't do accounting. I was saying it's even applicable in football. So there's this thinking that, say for the World Cup, for instance, 5 countries have taken the World Cup 80% of the time that the World Cup has been played. Only 5 countries have won the World Cup.
Oh, okay. So we see it happening there.
So
okay. So that is the fundamental aim of Pareto chart, that if majority of the quality problems is as a result of a few causes, and that if we can tackle those few critical causes, we can solve a lot of quality problems. And then Duran advocated that let's draw give a visual impression of these problems. So you put it into a bar chart in ascending or descending order. Straight away, when somebody looks at it, it tells you which problems are quite recurrent. So if you take a look at this, it tells you that defect B is quite popular within our production system, and that we need to take corrective actions to resolve this problem. Adam, are you okay now?
Yes, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question, class? Any other question? No question. So similar to that one, similar to the Pareto chart, we have the histogram, which should give us something like this. Again, you see, once we do it, we put it into a bar chart like this, we can see which problems are quite recurrent. The longer bars tells us that there are issues there that ought to be tackled quickly. Then we have scatter diagrams. Which graphically show the relationship between two variables. And in a typical example we are going to see, we want to compare humidity and the number of errors per hour. So we set different levels of humidity and observe the number of errors per hour at each level. And then we represent humidity on the horizontal axis and errors per hour on the vertical axis. We plot the observations corresponding to each level of humidity and errors per hour. And then we might find a positive or negative correlation between the two to point to a cause of problem. No correlation means humidity is not the cause of the errors. So let's have a look at this. We want to see whether there is any relationship between the level of humidity and the number of errors we are making or defective products we are producing per hour. We want to see whether there is any relationship, and we can establish a positive relationship or negative relationship. Once we establish that relationship, which means that humidity might be a cause or is a cause of the defects we are experiencing. So we need to tackle the issue of humidity. So here we go. At humidity of 10, how many errors? Let's say 11. At humidity of 20, errors per hour move to 15. At humidity of 30, errors move to, say, 18. At humidity of 55, errors move to, so these are the observations we made. With this, can you observe any relationship between humidity and the number of errors per hour? Is there any relationship? From the pattern of the observations we have plotted, do you see any relationship?
Simply, there's an inconsistency within the relationship.
What relationship do you observe?
Inverse relationship, sir.
Sorry?
I think it's direct relationship.
What does that mean? If you say direct relationship.
So as humidity goes up, the level of errors also increase.
Excellent. As the level of humidity increases, the level of errors per hour also increases. I hear this problem is quite common with pharmaceutical manufacturing. And that increases the cost of production of some pharmaceutical drug production of pharmaceutical products. So a large effort that is being made in the study of space, trying to see whether we can live on the moon and all that, is for us to be able to set up some of these plants there so we can do some manufacturing there. Pharmaceutical manufacturing there. We'll get there one day anyway. Let's move on. Leonie, your hand is up.
Yes, sir. Please back to the chart. The direct relationship is what I don't get, because I see that within 10 to 20, like let's say around 15, it goes down. So I don't understand when you say when it goes up. Like between the point where you have 10 to 20, you have this point here. I don't understand. Is it that I don't get it, or because I realize that when it's around 15, it goes down. So why do we say it's direct?
But largely, yes, you cannot have, for every single increase, you cannot have a corresponding increase in the hours. So you have this variation. But largely, if you look at the pattern, if you can see my cursor, can you see my cursor?
Yes, sir.
Largely, you can see that there is a pattern that as the humidity, level of humidity goes up, what do you see this curve?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yes. So if we are to plot this into a curve, you see that the line will be like this. And if the line is like this, what it means is that as the level of humidity increases, the number of errors per hour would also increase. In fact, we could have also observed something like this, the plot around this 15. So some will be up above 15, some will be down around 15, some will be like this. What it means is that the level of humidity, so if we have the dotted points around, in and around this bar and that bar, what it means is that level of humidity doesn't really affect the number of hours per, the number of errors per hour. We could have also observed this pattern this way. So we will see the dotted lines rather moving this way, in this direction. In this direction, we could have also seen that. And that would have been a negative relationship. This is a positive relationship. This would have been, if it had gone this way, that would have been negative relationship. Yeah, or an inverse relationship. So as the level of humidity increases, the number of errors per hour decreases. Okay, sweetheart, have you understood it now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have the process flow chart. Are we there? Okay. We have the process flow chart, which is also one of the Magnificent Seven. The job operation of the process is broken down into steps. A diagram is then drawn indicating the sequence of steps. This helps focus on where problems might occur and if the process itself needs fixing. Consider a truck full of pineapples on the premises of a pineapple juice producing firm. We are going to do something like this. So these are the steps. How many steps? 11 steps. This is operations, transport, inspection, delays, storage. The lights tells you that from stage 1, what is the next? So stage 1 is some operation is done. Stage 2, the pineapples are transported. And then inspection will be done. After inspection, they are transported again. Where are they transported to? They are transported to storage. Then from storage, step 5 or stage 5, they are then moved back through transport to operation. Some processing takes place. Maybe they are converted into juice, transported once again to storage, the final products, moved back, and then it goes on. This is what we call flow chart. Every organization will have its own flow chart. If you can systematically list out your processes that deliver your product or your service in these specific steps, you'll be able to identify where there are issues, where there are concerns. If there are delays, you'll be able to determine where the delays are coming from, who is not working well, which function, which department is not working the way it should, which department is the major source of the problem. Okay, customers have recently raised a lot of issues, concerns about delays in processing their orders. If we have a flow chart like this, we ask, when a customer places the order, where does it go? It goes to this point. From there, how many minutes does it take to go to the next point? 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Why is it taking 10 minutes, 15 minutes? When it should have taken just about 2 minutes. Then we begin to analyze the flow chart to determine areas of concerns and the improvement that needs to be brought in. Then we have the statistical process control chart. It is a means for measuring if the process is doing what it is supposed to do. A sample is taken from the process and the quality characteristics measured. The mean and the range of each sample are computed. The mean and the range for each sample are computed. The means of these means and ranges are also computed. The lower and upper control limits are also computed. A graph consisting of the sample points, their means and ranges, the center line, the lower control limit, the upper control limit is then constructed. The graph then tells whether or not the process is doing what it is designed to do. So this is what we are referring to. So the X bar, this is our X bar. And then this one is our, see the indicators here, our lower control limit. This is our lower control limit. And that's our upper control limit. Yeah. We get this data as we measure products from the production line. And then we compute the means of these data we have, and then the means of means to generate this statistical process control chart. Now, we have the upper control limits, we have the lower control limits. That even though this is the mean, we might not have all the products being on the mean, but as long as it's within the upper control and then the lower control limit, we accept it. Remember, I gave you the example of Milo that is supposed to be 400 grams, but go and buy two cans of Milo and then weigh them. You might have one been here, the other one been here. But as long as they don't go beyond the upper and lower control limit, we accept them as being within the process, or the process being in control. So we don't need to change anything. But when you measure and then you find some falling above the upper control limits, you find some falling below the lower control limit, then serious concerns have been raised. So we need to check the process and make sure that we avoid these incidents. This is what we want to try and avoid. Those falling between. So for example, in terms of the Milo, we can have 395 grams. We can have 399 grams. We can have exactly 400 grams. But when they fall below 380, below this bar, or when they go beyond the 400 to about 420, then it means the process is not in control. And that we need to pause our production, set the process in control, and make sure that, yes, we are within the upper and lower control limits. Do we have any question here? No question. Now we have the cause and effect diagram, which was engineered by Ishikawa. It's also called the cause and effect diagram. The cause and effect diagram. It offers a structured approach to the search for possible causes of a problem. It requires identification of categories of factors that might be causing problems. It is often used after brainstorming sessions to organize the ideas. In fact, this is a qualitative work. It's a qualitative work, unlike this, which is statistical work. Because we need to compute means, we need to compute the means of means, X bar bar. We need to do all that computation statistically to be able to determine whether our process is in control or our process is out of control. Like coming back to this one, if this point were to be here, if that point were to be here, we'll still say the process is within control. Okay? It has not gone beyond the upper and lower control limits. In the case of cause and effect diagram, we want to brainstorm, and that is what makes it qualitative. Brainstorm to get to the possible causes of an issue, of a problem. So it looks like this. And this whole concept of the fishbone diagram comes from the Japanese adage that a fish will usually start rotting from the head. So you see, it looks this thing looks like a fish with a skeleton. This is the head of the fish. That is the quality problem. See? And the problem will be contributed to by some key factors. But if you take the key factors will also have sub-factors contributing to that key factor. So for example, if the reason why we are having that quality problem is human related, what is it about human that is causing this problem? It could be as a result of poor supervision. It could be as a result of lack of concentration of employees. It could be as a result of inadequate training of our employees. The problem may not be human related. The problem may be machine related. So our machine, our equipment may be out of adjustment. Maybe we have not properly maintained our equipment. So the machine is out of adjustment. It may be a tooling problem. It may be as a result of old or worn-out machines. The machines they are now out of use. They are out, you can't say, they can no longer be used. Okay? So if we pick here, remember we said cause and effect analysis is done through, it's a qualitative method. So a team will be constituted. The team could come from engineering, marketing, and then we all brainstorm to look at the possible causes of the defect or quality issues. So we pick machine, we ask, in which ways can the machine contribute to this problem? Contribute to this problem. And we brainstorm to get the ideas. Yes, the machine may be outmoded. Thank you. Thank you, Sadiq. Okay. Total quality management is also one of the key quality management systems that organizations could have to build assurance into the consistency of quality they are producing. Two primary sources of process improvement. One, eliminating common causes of quality problems, and then two, eliminating special or assignable causes. Please take notes. Special, assignable, and then eliminating causes of quality problems. How do we do this? One, what are the common causes of quality? These are sources of variability that are embedded in the system or process itself. Common causes of quality problems. These are sources of variability. Remember, we have said earlier on that if we are able to reduce variability, quality improves. So eliminating quality problems, we need to tackle the sources of variability. And we are saying that we can tackle variability by eliminating common causes. And what are those common causes? They are the sources of variability that are embedded in the system or the process itself. Removing a common cause of variability usually means changing the process. Why do we need to change the process if we need to remove a common cause? Sadiq.
Sir.
Why do we need to change the process if we need to remove a common cause?
Looking for question, not dimension. Okay, so so how will I explain it?
The answer is straightforward. I didn't want, I least expected you to struggle to answer this question.
And let me see. So changing the whole process, changing the whole process to reduce variability.
Can you see?
They're embedded in the system or process of
Embedded in it. Because it is embedded in it, it is difficult to take that the source, resolve the problem. You can only resolve the problem by
changing the whole process.
Changing the whole process. So you have a stove. You got married about 20 years ago. The stove that you came to meet in the house, the gas stove that you came to meet in the house 20 years ago, it's the same gas stove that you are still using. The regulator is no longer working. You cannot control it. Once you on it, it is on high. And so whenever you cook rice, the rice gets burnt. Sadiq.
Yeah.
And so customers are beginning to complain that when they buy our rice, they can smell smoke because I see a shit. And we want to resolve that problem. How would you resolve the problem?
You start by changing the
No,
stove.
we change the stove. We change the stove. Or we change the process of cooking our rice, correct?
Yes, please.
Okay. And if we change the process, maybe now we get a rice cooker to cook it. Have we changed the process?
Yes, please.
Have we?
Yes. Yes, please.
Yes, we have changed the process. So to eliminate common causes, because common causes are embedded in the process or the system itself, to eliminate common causes, we need to focus on the system. So we remove common causes of variability. Usually, removing a common cause of variability usually means changing the process. Only manager can specify and implement that change. It's often difficult. So for example, if we want to change the stove, in the example I'm giving, it has to be the concern of the father in the house. The sick assembly saying, manager will have to say, oh, well, we don't have the money to change the other equipment now. Let's use it small, until maybe we'll include that in our next year budget. Okay, so poor product design, insufficient employee training, all can be issues that will lead to common causes of quality problems. Common causes of quality product. These will be embedded in the system. Insufficient training of employees can cause quality problems. And if we want to resolve this, management will have to say, okay, let's take our employees for training. You see, no employee can say that I'm going to train myself. No, manager has to take that decision to train all of us. So now eliminating special courses, which are referred to as assignable courses. These usually arise from external sources. So assignable courses of quality problems, they come from the external. For example, broken down to jammed machine. Removing assignable courses involve eliminating that special problem. So specific equipment, specific operator. Deming promoted extensive employee involvement in quality management improvement programs. When you have the time, this thing is available online. Google can easily pull this for you. Students should study Deming's 14 points for achieving improvements or quality improvement. This was one of the things that Deming, when he went to Japan, he advocated that organizations in Japan should do. He developed the 14 points that if you want to improve your quality, these are the steps. Bang, 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 bang. Please Google it, and then you'll find there means 14 points. Let's quickly do it now. We have enough time. Google it and let's quickly go through the 14 points. There means 14 points for quality improvement.
Okay, so the first one says create a constant purpose towards improvement.
Create what?
A constant purpose towards improvement.
Have that mindset. Nobody would think about heaven. Nobody will accept Christ, will join any religion if they don't believe in heaven. If I don't believe heaven exists, nobody will come and preach to me that I should convert, become a Christian or become a Muslim and I'll accept. Quality should be important to me. And then I'll begin to put steps in place to drive towards achieving that target. Okay? Point 2 says what?
Adopt the new philosophy.
Adopt a new philosophy. Have a philosophy. Philosophy that would drive a new purpose, drive the purpose of the firm towards achieving the goals you are setting. Third one.
Stop depending on inspection.
Stop depending on inspection. There's a lot. Many organizations have moved away from inspection because they define inspection as the death certificate approach. So you solve the problem when the problem has already occurred, when the defect has already occurred. You produce 10,000 pieces of these mobile phones in my hand. Then we are asking, we say that, well, some of them can be defective, so we cannot ship all the 10,000 pieces to the market. Let's inspect them, see which ones are good, which ones are not good. Defective ones, we are not going to take them to the market. The good ones, we are taking them to the market. And if you keep doing this, you are creating cost for yourself. So why don't we rather look at the source of the problem and solve it, rather than inspecting to see which ones can go and which ones cannot go? If we tackle the problem within our production system to identify which stages within our production process causes the defect to occur in our mobile phones, and we solve those problems, in the end, every phone coming out will be perfect and we don't need to inspect them. So some authors describe inspection as the death certificate approach. So they should stop depending on inspection because it doesn't contribute to any value. Any value. Next point.
Use a single supplier for any one item.
So it goes on and on. He did a prescription for Japanese companies to follow, and it has become quite popular. Deming's 14-point approach to quality improvement. What's the last point? 14.
Make transformation everyone's job.
Make what?
Transformation everyone's job.
Everyone's job. Don't let quality improvement be the sole responsibility of people on the shop floor. It should be everybody's role. If I'm a cleaner in the company, I share a responsibility in the quality of product that my firm is producing. If I am the managing director, I share a responsibility in the quality of the product we are producing. If I'm on the shop floor, I also share a responsibility. Because if I'm a cleaner and then I go to the managing director's office and I don't clean it properly, perhaps when he comes working and he finds dust in his, maybe he's allergic to dust, I didn't clean well. He needs to reason to take certain decisions. And his allergy comes up and he takes bad decision. It's going to affect all of us. And what is that source of bad decision? It's from me, the cleaner. So everybody shares a responsibility in the quality of a product that a firm produces. These are Deming's 14-point approach. Okay, great. Let's move on. So what does the concept of total quality management, what does it emphasize on? It emphasizes on top management's role in leading total quality effort on which all employees at all levels must focus. All employees are responsible for continuous quality improvement. I've already explained this. Quality is the focal point of all organizational functions. Remember earlier on, we did say that CEOs now agree that the single most important factor that contributes to the sustainability of firms is quality. Firms that have existed for 100 years. Recently, if you've been watching CNN, you see some of these adverts, companies that are 100 years old. And the brief that come on them, you can see that they have consistently focused on quality. That is why they've been able to come this far. That is why they've been able to come this far. So quality should be the focal point of all organizational functions. And quality must also be seen as a strategic issue, not an operational issue. So you focus on a long term. When we say something is strategic, something that you are taking decision on today that can affect its occurrence in the future. Strategic issue, something that affects the very existence of the firm. Okay? What are the principles of TQM? The customer defines quality and customer satisfaction is top priority. Class, I know we had an agreement that when we do 2 hours, we can break for 5 minutes and then we continue. Today, I'm going to end about 15 minutes earlier so you can have that 15 minutes break. Thank you. So these are the principles, total quality management. These are the principles. The customer defines quality and customer satisfaction is the top priority. Principle number 1, top management must provide leadership for quality. So top management must lead. And quality is about doing things right. If I am a cleaner and you are telling me that we are implementing the philosophy of total quality management, TQM, for which reason as a cleaner, I also share responsibility in the quality of product being produced by the firm, then I need to do everything I need to do well, and I must have all the resources I need to do my work too. If I'm a cleaner, you are giving me towel and water to go and clean people's offices. What kind of good work must I do? But if I have the detergent, whatever I need to do my work and I am provided with them, I can go and do my work well. I have the training on how to do this. And to get the training, to get the proper detergent to do my work, it will have to come from management. And that's why leadership is quite important. Top management must provide leadership for quality. Quality should be seen as strategic issue as already emphasized. Quality is the responsibility of all employees and not a limited few, like people on the production floor. And that all functions of the company must focus on continuous quality improvement to achieve strategic goals. Quality problems are solved through cooperation among employees and management, not just one function. Oftentimes when there are problems with our products, all eyes stand on production. But remember that the problem may not be production related. In fact, it might even come from design. It might even come from marketing in capturing the voice of the customer. And that's why we are saying that quality problems are solved through cooperation among employees from all functional areas, as well as management. Problem solving and continuous quality improvement use statistical quality control methods. Training and education of all employees are the basis for continuous quality improvement. So how does TQM see external suppliers? Remember, I call suppliers, as I keep saying this every time we talk about suppliers. Suppliers are unofficial extension of our company. In computing, there's this saying that garbage in,
Garbage out.
That's right.
garbage out. Even in Tree, our friends from Cameroon, forgive me, I'm going to speak a little Tree here. Wabom and a trade. Wado.
Wado.
Aha. And that is the input we are talking about. The kind of a bomb, you know, in the villages when people come to weed for you. And this story can be sourced to, they said a northerner who came to the Ashanti region to come and weed for people. And sometimes people will go and see the work that this man has done. And then they will hire him. He comes and he does little work. So somebody ask him, the last time I came to see you work for Auntie Abuna, this wasn't the kind of work you did for Auntie Abuna. It was a large area you had cleared or weeded. Why are you giving me this? And then the man goes, Ubombo nekrewado, ubombo nekrewado, which means wabom and a trado amedo amount. You see? So the input we get from suppliers goes to a large extent to influence the quality that we produce of our own products. So we should understand that customer satisfaction requires both companies' commitments to quality and support and resources of its suppliers. Companies need to count on the quality of parts and material that are coming from suppliers. One of the recalls that Toyota did in 2014 on the American market was because of the airbags. I mean, you can Google this and read on it. Toyota recall in America 2014. What was the cause of the problem? The problem was basically the airbags. So when cars that were doing over 100 kilometers per hour, all of a sudden the airbag will explode. And in parts of America where there was so much heat, even when you are not doing that amount of mileage, because of the heat, the airbag will explode. You see? But Toyota as a company doesn't manufacture airbags. There is a company, Toyota sources its airbags, all the airbags it uses in its car production from a company called Takata. Takata. Can you Google it now and let's confirm Takata? The manufacturer of airbags for Toyota.
Garbage out.
Has anybody found something?
Yes, sir, confirm. Yes, sir, there's a story on the Takata airbag recall.
Aha, very good. Very good. So that was a problem. And you see, Toyota has manufactured its cars. And the airbags which Toyota bought from an external supplier and incorporated into their product is creating problems for them. They had to recall those cars and fix the problem. See how an input from a supplier has caused a major cost to the company. And this is why we need to work closely with our suppliers. And so in TQM, we consider the supplier very important to the extent that you would even want to make sure that the suppliers also put systems in place to deliver quality products to your organization. Okay? Inspection of parts and material for defects need to be avoided. Remember from today's lecture that inspection doesn't add value. And many organizations have moved away from inspection. Have a trust in the product coming from the company without inspecting it. And for you to have that trust, you need to be sure that the company has put total quality systems in place to produce products that will satisfy your requirements. Now, reduce the number of suppliers in order to have more direct influence over their suppliers' quality and delivery performance. And this is where partnering comes in, collaboration with suppliers. There is one firm I like so much. It's called it's a Swedish firm, IKEA. Write the name down. Maybe after the lecture you may want to read on IKEA. IKEA, IKEA. It's a Swedish, or is it Swedish or Finnish? Check for me. I don't want to deceive you. IKEA, is it a Finnish or Swedish company?
Netherlands.
IKEA.
Headquarters, Netherlands.
So headquarters in Netherlands, though. I don't know where it's.
So it should be a Dutch.
No, maybe that's why they have their headquarters, but it's a Finnish.
I'll go Wikipedia.
Wikipedia will give us. I think it's a
Swedish.
Swedish, yeah, it's Swedish. Go on Wikipedia, you'll find it.
Founded in Sweden, 1943.
Yes, founded in Sweden in 1943.
By 70-year-old.
Go to Wikipedia, you have the story about it. It was founded by a 17-year-old guy. And today the company is still in existence. And if you talk about furniture production in Europe, IKEA is number one. IKEA is number one. And IKEA does a lot of partnering relationship with their suppliers to make sure that whatever it is that they are producing for their customers, suppliers take play a key role. They don't joke with their suppliers at all. Okay. So TQM customer satisfaction. Companies should be able to measure customer satisfaction and evaluation of the effectiveness of TQM program, and this will be done through customer surveys. So company meeting customers' expectation, are products meeting fitness for use definition? Is it what the customer wants? Does the customer like it? Does the customer need it? Will the customer like it change? All these are some of the key questions we need to ask to make sure that we are making our customer happy. Take care of information technology. A successful business organization must have active and functional IT system to, one, monitor and control its functions, receive information and translate that information into appropriate actions and effective decisions. The IT systems ties together all of the company's functions and processes and effectively controls the production process. It also links the company to its external environment. So we see how IT plays a critical role in total quality management. So what are the strategic implications of TQM? In today's global business environment, companies compete on quality. Hence, quality is the most important aspect of their strategic plans. Strategic plans should contain high goals for quality. And if you're talking about strategic plans, read the vision statement of your company. Read the mission statement of your company. See whether there is any emphasis on quality. Goals and objectives are established at all levels, and the means and resources for achieving these goals are provided to employees and managers. In some companies, employees do not even know the vision statement and the mission statement of the company. Now, there is a mechanism for feedback to adjust, update, and make corrections in the strategic plan. Strong leadership is key in this regard. What is the cost of quality? So what does it cost us to get it right for the customer? What does it cost us to satisfy and make the customer happy? The cost of quality are those incurred to achieve good quality to satisfy the customer. That is one. And two, when quality fails to satisfy the customer, what consequences do we incur? So when we say the cost of quality, we should see it in two lights. One, what what does it take to achieve the quality expectations of the customer? And two, when quality does not satisfy the customer's requirement, what consequences do we face? So the first is referred to as cost of quality assurance or cost of achieving good quality. This one, cost of quality assurance or cost of achieving good quality. And two, the last one, the second point, is the cost of conforming to or cost of poor quality. Cost of poor quality. What are the cost of achieving good quality? What cost do we incur to achieve good quality? They are in two types, the preventive cost and appraisal cost. What is the preventive cost? So these are the list of preventive costs. Costs that we incur to make sure that we prevent errors or defects from happening. So quality planning costs, cost of developing and implementing the quality management program. We are doing this because we don't want to see quality defects. Then product design cost, make sure that we design the product appropriately. Quality is designed into the product, no defect. Process costs, costs expended to make sure that the productive process conform to quality specifications. Training costs, information costs. So these are all part of the costs we incur to achieve good quality for the customer. What about appraisal costs? Let's take a look at appraisal costs. Costs associated with measuring, testing. You see, when we have put all these systems in place to make sure that, yes, we are going to satisfy the customer, we also need to make sure we need to assess these systems to know whether we are achieving the purposes for which we have done this. And that is where the appraisal cost comes in. That's where the appraisal cost comes in. So appraisal costs associated with measuring, testing, and analyzing materials, parts, products, and the productive processes to ensure that product quality specifications are being met. Inspection and testing costs, test equipment costs, operator costs. All this goes into appraisal cost. Appraisal cost. I'm sure some of you will be asking that, but he said that we should try and avoid inspection. Inspection can come in every form. For example, you cannot tell whether your airbag will indeed explode in the event of a crash. So you produce the car, put airbag in it, and intentionally crash the car to see if the airbag will explode. And that is part of inspection. That is part of the testing. You have produced a missile that you expect to travel to be able to do 100 kilometers within, say, five minutes. When we produce those missiles, we need to test them. So the Americans are testing their missiles. The Iranians are testing their missiles to see whether they will achieve the purpose for which they've been created. So they are all part of the cost to see quality has been achieved. What is the cost of poor quality? What does it mean? This is where the greatest cost improvement is possible. Two types: internal failure costs, so the costs that we incur as a result of the product failure occurring before delivery. In fact, we even prefer this one to this. Why do you think we should prefer the internal failure cost to external failure cost? So the product failed. We discovered the failure of the product internally before we ship it. So in that case, if we find it, we're not going to ship it at all to the customer.
It saves.
Go ahead.
It saves cost and company reputation because everything is within. But
excellent. Excellent. But if it gets to the hands of the customer and the failure occurs, reputation, number one, the additional cost, the warranty claims, the damages, the lawsuit. Recently, I think about 2 years ago, VW Kindly Google it and let's see VW's emission case. See if you can find something on it. VW emission case. Some emission is about what CO2. Yes.
Yeah, the emission of CO2 from their cars.
Yes.
So the scandal.
The scandal.
Emission.
The scandal. It cost VW so much huge money to the extent that VW has to come out. Oh, we are doing global restructuring. To the extent that 30,000 people lost their jobs through that restructuring. But it was as a result of the cost of that scandal. It was as a result of that scandal. And that is an example of an external failure cost after delivery. You're saying that this is the level of emission from this car. They did a test and the emission levels were far higher than what you are proclaiming. So individuals will send the car back. Laws will compel you to record those vehicles. You see? So external failure cost is dangerous. So internal failure cost, we can scrap the product and maybe rework it if it's reworkable. We discarded poor quality products, we rework costs, process failure costs, cost of determining why the productive process is producing poor quality products. We may bring in consultants to come and check this for us, correct the problem for us. The consultants are not our brothers, we need to pay them. So, and then process downtime. Errors are occurring. Why is it occurring? We need to stop the machines. We need to stop people from working. We need to investigate. It's all part of the cost. And then price downgrading. Sometimes when the products are not meeting are not conforming, we may want to downgrade the price and sell it like that. We discount the products. We discount the product. Like what we normally call the store reject. Store reject. Because of a slight error in the product, we might want to discount it. Then external failure costs, customer complaint costs, and this can be dangerous. In fact, it can lead to the company losing a lot of its customers. So customer complaint costs, then product return costs. Remember, product return will be at your cost, not at the cost of the customer. I remember when I was leaving the UK for Ghana, my wife, Ekuya, at that time, halogen oven has become very popular. Ekuya said I should buy halogen oven for her. I went online, ordered one, and the one I ordered, it states in the specification that they will include a spare bulb. So the product was delivered. I opened the box, there was no spare bulb. And then I sent a quick email to the sales guy and told him that this is what your advert says. The product was delivered, no spare bulb was in it. If you don't bring this thing, I am going to write a negative comment on the website. They said, please, 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 the next day we are going to deliver the spare bulb. Interestingly, the next day, the company kept to their promise, delivered the spare bulb. But when they were delivering, they sent another halogen oven. And as Christian as I am, I called them, told them that, oh, you have mistakenly shipped me another halogen oven. But in fact, what I needed was a spare bulb. They said, oh, we are sorry. Now we need to return. We need you to return this. The first one we shipped to you. So we'll ask the courier guy to come and pick it up. And the courier guy never came, and I left. You see, and these are some of the costs. So product liability costs, we know that can also happen in external failure costs, and then lost sales, particularly coming from customer complaints. What is the relationship between quality costs? Naturally, the less effort expended on costs, of achieving quality, the greater the effectiveness. So if we are in a company, we are spending less in terms of cost to achieve quality, what it means is that our costs, quality costs may go up. So our quality costs, however, the more effort expended on cost of achieving quality, the less effectiveness we are going to get. It can therefore be concluded that the two cost components are inversely related. So as we increase the expenses we make on achieving good quality, the lesser the defect. The lesser the defect. Okay? So this has led to the traditional school of thought which says that as prevention appraisal cost increases, failure cost decreases. But there must be an optimal amount of quality effort. If we're in the class, I would have drawn this on this thing for you to see. So should we improve quality up to forever, perpetually? Or we can increase our expenditure on improving costs up to a certain amount? These are the confusions. Well, in some environments, it will be important to continuously spend effort to improve quality, because you can't say you wake up to a stage and stop. Like flights, they must consistently ensure that they are doing the right thing. Improvement is consistently, because the least mistake can lead to fatalities. Like hospitals, the least mistake can lead to fatalities. So you must continuously expend effort to achieve the best quality. So the school of thought believes that beyond this point, the cost of improving quality exceeds the benefit that it brings. However, this thought is challenged by the modern school of thought on the following of TQM on the following grounds. No operation should accept the unavoidability of errors. So pilots and nurses, for example, failure costs are generally underestimated, and prevention costs are not inevitably high. So we bring everybody on board. Then the optimum quality level approach does little to challenge operation managers and start to find ways of improving quality. If we are going by this approach of we having an optimum amount of effort on quality, that will stop quality operations managers from thinking outside the box to look for better ways and means of improving quality, because so after we have achieved the optimum level, so there is no need for further improvement. No. So that is that school of thought. Okay. We're almost there, 2 more slides and we are done for today. Employee issues are very crucial when it comes to quality improvement. So job training, employee development, cooperation between management and employees is absolutely necessary, and strong commitment to quality, very critical, very critical. Then we have total quality cycle. This is one of the philosophies, quality tools that emerged from Japan. A quality circle is a small voluntary group of employees. So within your organization, group of people will form a quality circle, and then they will brainstorm on specifics of their roles. So if we are into customer service team can form one circle and continuously brainstorm. In which ways can we improve our customer service? In which ways can we minimize the errors that usually emanate from customer service? See, brainstorm. It's a voluntary organization and they don't use company hours. So if you form that circle, you can decide to meet. If work starts at 8, you can decide to go to work at 6 and use the first 2 hours to brainstorm. If work stops at say 6 p.m., you can decide that after work we stay in. You are not going to, that's why it is purely voluntary. Work stops at 6 p.m., you meet after 6 p.m. to work. So a group of employees from the same work area or department and their supervisors who address production problems, such as how do we reduce cost, how do we improve productivity, how do we bring improvement into what we do? whether we are in communication department, whether in the public relations department, whether we are in the purchasing department or marketing department, there is always a chance for improving what we do. And so quality circles brainstorm. Now, the initial idea of quality circle is that if a group is able to brainstorm and come up with an idea which the company accepts and implement company-wide, that group is recognized and rewarded. You see, so everybody is active. Everybody wants to engage in and make sure that our team comes up at the end of the year with something, some new idea that is implemented company-wide. And it challenges the groups to make them innovative. So you can be proud that it's my group that brought this idea that was accepted and implemented. Okay. Employee suggestions, a good way to, we are looking at the importance of employee suggestions. A good way for employees or individuals to improve quality. You are on the shop floor, you've been doing something over a time, and you think that, oh, if we do it this way, it could be better. Suggest it, don't keep it to yourself. Don't go and say that, I am fat, so I won't say it. You say it and let them not far. Say it and let them not take. It's better than not saying it. See, requires a strong commitment and reinforcement from management at all levels. And a reward structure is also necessary. At least, if for nothing at all, put the person's picture on the wall. Best employee for the year. Doesn't necessarily mean giving them money. Okay? And for some companies, for some countries, they have instituted their quality awards to try and push companies to be innovative, creative, commit to quality. So we have the Budget Award, which is created in 1987 to stimulate growth and quality management in the United States. If you go to Japan, they also have the Deming Prize. It's all about, just like we have in Ghana, the something marketing award. What's the name? Ghana, do we have any quality awards?
Yeah,
CIMG.
Can we see the CMG? Is this CMG awards of any?
It's CIMG.
CIMG awards. Is it more about quality?
I think so.
More about personalities and. I think currently they are even advertising the next award is coming. You see? So as a nation, I doubt if we have something like this. And in Japan, for you to win it's a prestige to win the Deming's Prize, because then the nation is recognizing you for some quality, huge quality effort. So every company would want to achieve that prize. So they work towards it, consistently improve their quality. And you see, as they do that, they give image to products from the country to other countries, and everybody wants to buy. You see, I hear there is one by the Ghana Standards Authority, but it's not so popular. I don't even know what. It was instituted only in 2017. Maybe we give it 2 or 3 years and it will be better. Okay, so class will end the lecture here on slide 145. Read on ISO 9000, which is another type of quality. And then next week, we'll look at capacity and aggregate planning. We'll do a lot of calculation in here, okay? Read on this last slide for me. If we meet, some of you, I know your company has this certification, ISO 9000 certification. It's a kind of certification that when companies get it, right at their reception, front desk, you see that we are ISO certified. And you see there, proud to be ISO, working at ISO standards. Read on it. And next week, let's start capacity and aggregate planning. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, sir.